All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at lesson 1.1, day 2, which is really solving our equations using multiplication and division. So it's a continuation of what we did just a moment ago. So just like when we did adding and subtracting on both sides, we're going to be multiplying on both sides or dividing on both sides. So same strategy. If you're going to multiply by 3 on the left, you multiply by 3 on the right. If you divide by 2 on the left, you divide by 2 on the right. Same strategy. Give you a moment to copy that down, or you can just back up the video. All right, here we go. The way that I show it might be slightly different from what you learned in 7th grade, or maybe a little bit in elementary school, depending on your teacher. But again, I go back to those properties. So in other words, my current problem means 8 multiplied by x. So it means the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 8 on both sides. So on the left side, 8 divided by 8 really becomes a hidden 1x. Please do not write 1x in 8th grade. Just write x equals. And then on the right side, if you notice, you've got your division rules with your signs. A negative divided by a positive, since the signs are different, means it's a negative answer. So we got a -4. Now, if you were to check it right here again, you would show 8 times -4 equals -32. So you would write -32 equals -32. Again, the check's not showing up. Apologize about that. All right, on this problem, very similar, except for this time, the variable has the negative sign. Now, when it's an equation, it's okay. It's pretty basic. When we get to our inequalities later on in the year, then it's a little bit more advanced. So it means -3 multiplied by x, so the inverse operation is to divide both sides by -3. The left side simply becomes your positive x that we desire, so we're going to write x is equal to. And then again, very similar with our signs. They are different signs on a division problem, therefore it is a negative answer. What do you know? It's a -4 as well. So if I were to check it, I would show -3 multiplied by -4 equals 12. And you get 12 equals 12. Now the check really isn't super important until you get to your more advanced equations, but again, it's trying to be consistent in helping you get those good study habits, work habits. Ooh, on this one here, remember how we said we don't write 1x for our answer? We don't write -1n for our answer either, but we can put the negative sign there for our work if we'd like to. Because if you have the -1, it's a little bit easier for some students to recognize it that they need to divide both sides by -1. So if it helps you, let me see if I can do it. Let's see, pointer options, pen. You could actually put like a little 1 right there. So that means you're going to divide both sides by -1. Very nice. All right, let's go back to my laser pointer. All right, moving on. Oh, I forgot to say the answer. N equals 5. If you were to check it again, it would be -1 times 5 equals -5. And -5 equals -5. All right, on this one here, what we like saying is a fraction line really means division. So the inverse operation of a division problem is a multiplication problem. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1/5 is 5/1. So I'm going to ask you to show both sides with those parentheses multiplying by 5/1. Now the reason we do that with this laser pointer here is so that the 5s can cross cancel. The 1s you can ignore. So that really gives me, let's change it back to the pen. Again, those become little 1s. So that gives me the y equals that I desire. So y is equal to, well, it's just 6 times 5. Y is equal to 30. And if I were to check it again, I would write 1/5 times 30, or 30/1, equals 6, and practice my cross-canceling skills. I get 6 equals 6. On this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and take our little suggestion and go ahead and put a little 1 there. Remember, a 1 is okay for work, but we don't put extra 1s for answers, if that makes sense. We don't write 1 in for an answer. Now it looks very similar to our previous problem. We don't have to stress out about the negative sign on the 2. So I'm going to ask us to go ahead and multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which means both sides multiply by 3 over 1. And remember, that allows the 3's to cross cancel. So that gives me an n is equal to, and then the right side, no cross canceling, it's just a negative 6. Occasionally we have to cross cancel on the right side, but this one, it is what it is. Now on the original problem, remember, it was just an n. So if you were to check it, you would write it as negative 6. So you'd write it as negative 6 divided by 3 equals negative 2. And you'd get negative 2 equals negative 2. All right, on this one here, we've got a fraction. I am going to go ahead and put that 1 there to help us out. So it really means negative 1 over 2 with the x. So that means my reciprocal, and this is where some students get a little confused, my reciprocal is negative 2 over 1. I like keeping the negative sign at the top, and the reason is when students put it at the bottom, which is never okay for an answer, but work is so-so, students tend to forget about it. But if you keep it up at the top, students usually rock it. So cross cancel. Negative multiplied by negative is a positive, so that means x is going to be equal to negative 12. Again, if you were to check it, let's see. Maybe I can actually write it this time. Let's see. Get my pen tablet ready to go. If I were to write it up here, it would look like negative, substituting negative 12 divided by 2. And negative times a negative is a positive, so 12 divided by 2, yeah, that definitely gives us 6 equals 6. So again, that is a great check right there. Wonderful. All right, this one I'm going to ask you to try a little bit on your own. So I'm going to give you a nice pause on the video. So you don't have to pause it yourself. I'm just not going to talk for a little bit. Give about maybe 20 more seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, beautiful. Did you multiply both sides by the reciprocal? Now, do you remember how I was telling you we might be able to cross cancel? Yeah, let's do it on this one here. Okay, so let's see here. Most of you probably are just going to ignore this side and say, Mr. Murillo, it cross cancels. It's good. Negative times a negative is a positive, so that means y is equal to. But if you notice over here, cross canceling does occur. 2 becomes a 1. Negative 14 becomes a negative 7. So my answer is found from negative 7 multiplied by negative 7. And remember, when we're multiplying same signs, it becomes positive, so positive 49. Excellent. If you were to check it, it would look like this. Negative 2 over 7. Y is 49. You can write it as 49 over 1 is equal to negative 14. Cross canceling, 7 becomes a 1, 49 becomes a 7. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Again, the checking really designed for when the problems get a little bit more advanced. Hey, look at that. We are done. So what you're going to do now is finish completing your notes, and then you're going to get started on your assignment. All right, be awesome.